I need this box to get here tomorrow so it can sit for a week before I open it.
So true. Oh my God. And that's the worst part about it is that you're like 3 days. I'm going to order for $5 more from this guy who can get it here tomorrow.
And then I can open it
it's going to sit over there.
Yeah.
For next.
You should see our island. Welcome to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hi, Squeaks.
Yeah. Wanted to go ahead and apologize now. I'm under the weather.
Yeah.
And
doesn't happen often.
And under the bus because I feel like a bus hit me. My back is tweaked, or sciatica or something. I don't know. I'm an old man and I'm feeling my age today.
Sorry.
But this episode is brought to you by
Monarch Pine.
All right.
Save. She's our sponsor for this episode and many more in the future. Save 10% with code Riley Black in her Etsy shop, monarchpine.etsy.com.
And you have a nice sheet of paper there.
I do have a nice sheet of paper. We have some new patrons.
Oh,
yeah. So our efforts are paying off.
Literally paying off.
Right. I've been shamelessly, awkwardly plugging
at the beginning of the year,
and it worked a little bit. One of them is actually our guest, but we'll introduce them in a second.
Right.
So we have Jess with Jersey Girl Sign Shop, Jillian B, Allison with Black River Arts, Heather with Global Designs, Crystal with Spreading Stardust, Liz with Laser Outpost,
the laser
fiber jewelry blanks. It's a whole mouthful because she has like the group.
Just keep reading. Just keep reading.
She has the group and now she's selling blanks. And so Anyway, thanks, Liz. Super fan Brandy Mahoney, Victor with Excited Adam, Katie with Monarch Pine again, Camille, Lisa, David with Creative Cut Supplies, Stephanie Long, Barbie, Madison with Laser Maple, Danny McManus, Emily with TM Wall,
that mom with
the laser. Thank you. Mark with Big Blue Laser Designs, the Kathy Ray, Ryan with Sprouts Creations, and Will with Crazy Laser Dad. So
everyone, thanks everyone for the support.
It's a mouthful now because I want to mention their name, but I also want to mention their business because we want to give what little we can to them for subscribing or being a patron.
Yes.
But that's also why we only do it once a month because it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
But thank you so much.
Yes,
so
everyone for who's already joined the Patreon, those new to the Patreon, and those of you who have not yet signed on to the Patreon.
If you have $4,
that's it. Cup of coffee.
Just if
send it over.
If you enjoy us and the value we bring, we would appreciate if you're able, because we know not everybody is. So we get that.
Our guest left, but I think
she's back. I heard the boop.
Yeah, let me see.
So who is our guest?
So our guest is a busy mom, full-time. She's got a full-time job. She's on her break.
This on her lunch hour.
She's on her lunch break, which is awesome. We thank her. You might know her from Jersey Girl Sign Shop. She has my favorite is she did this QR code sign. That's amazing. But she also has a lot of cutting board engraves on there. Jess, how's it going?
Hi, it's good. How are you guys?
Good. Maybe she didn't know if we were done yet.
Yeah. She's like, man, that intro.
Right. We're trying to get fancier with our intro. Oh, sorry.
I think it was great. I myself am just getting over a cold, so I feel you. I think it's just going around right now. But other than that, I'm good.
Good. Yeah, the boys, we had JR home yesterday. Yep. Jackson's had like a nasty cough for over a week now, maybe 2 weeks. So, and I've had one, but thankfully it's been like at bay. But it's funny, our house, I was working in here the other day,
my mom's
and all three of you were in the house, and you guys were just it was like a symphony of coughs between the three of you, unfortunately.
Yeah. And your maiden name is Kaufman.
It is. I was like, well, it's the house of the Kaufmans now, because I always used to get that when I was little. The men. I'm like, you're so funny. So, Jess, tell us a little bit about you. First of all, thank you for becoming a patron. We know, that things aren't like happening for everybody. So any of our patrons that we still have at this point, we like are even more appreciative than I think before. So tell us a little bit about like how you got into the laser world. If you want a little bit about like what your like current day job is now, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I originally started my craftiness with a Cricut, which I feel like is a lot of people's story in this community. And then from there, I was so interested in these like amazing cutting boards that people were engraving with recipes on them.
Yeah.
So, the marketing genius that Glowforge is, I started seeing all the ads for Glowforge, and without doing any further research, because I had no idea that there was, any other brand but a Glowforge, I begged my husband for months. I'm like, I need it, I need it, I need it. And he's like, what are you gonna do with this thing? Like, you know nothing about lasers.
Right.
So so he told me, if you come up with a plan, a solid plan on what you're going to do and how you're going to market it and what your business is going to be, I'll think about it. So I came up with a plan, and I'm like, I'm doing the cutting boards. I'm going to engrave them. This is going to be my business. And then finally he's like, you know what? I'll just buy it for you for your birthday. So I was back in October 2019. Yeah. Yeah, 2019 that started. And since then, I did go with the cutting board theme. Obviously, it's been my main source of business since then. Obviously, I've done other things, ornaments, and now I got into acrylic signs and party stuff, cake toppers and signs and all that, all those other things that we can do with this amazing machine.
Right.
And in between there, within the community, me and my friend realized that cutting boards were like, everyone was asking, where to get cutting boards? Where do you get cutting boards? So back in uh, October of 2020, I think it was, me and my friend started a wholesale cutting board company.
Oh, nice.
For the Glowforge community. And then with the prices rising with COVID and everything, we actually had to stop doing that. But it was good while it lasted.
Right.
So it only lasted about like 6 months before the prices were just too much, and we didn't want to pass it on to our customers, so we decided to just close it up, unfortunately. And then I took a short break from my business. I went through like fertility struggles with my second, and it was a mental struggle. So I needed a break from social media. And then I came back in 2023, August of 2023, with this infamous Stanley toppers, and I jumped on that train, and I've been back in ever since.
Awesome. I mean, it's great that you were able to, take the time that you needed, but then that you literally could, just kind of jump right back in, when you were in that space to be able to. I hear people talk like all the time, like going through, whatever struggle it may be, fertility. We've had several people on who have had that, and we had that in the beginning as well. And I know firsthand how like how like, and my struggle was pretty like small to a lot of other people's. But to me, it didn't feel that way. It felt like, everyone was announcing, everyone was, success. Like I remember someone got pregnant like accidentally that I knew. And that was like, oh my God. Like it was just like, it was the worst timing. But anyway, like regardless of what the struggles are, sometimes for some people it can be that perfect distraction, but also it can be too much. But I love that like you take the break and then you come back when you're ready. And, whether it be like a trend that brings you back in, or you just, pop up like, hey, what's that, that raccoon reel that he like slides open
right.
the dumpster and he's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm back, like I haven't been gone on a 6-month mental breakdown,
Yeah.
but like, and you come back and then you can either start slow or like hit it and then just get right back into it. But I'm also relate to the fact that you bought a Glowforge and didn't even think that any other brands existed, didn't think that there was anything else. Like it didn't even cross my mind of like
Right.
what other ones could be out there. Like
Right.
I don't know if their marketing was so good or I was just naive to the fact that there was probably a million other like options. Although at the time they were probably the only like plug and play desktop.
Right.
And so even if I had done research, I might have
Still gone
that way,
Right.
but I maybe would have had more of an idea of like the potential downfalls, and maybe it's good that I didn't look because I might have been even more paranoid about like what could go wrong instead of being,
Right. Well, and then
naively
also
excited about.
you would have seen how like new lasers were in like in how people are using them
Right.
now, how
Yeah.
how we're using them,
Right.
because Glowforge was like one of the easier plug and play,
Right.
and all the other ones was like there was no ease into it. It was like Glowforge beginner hobbyist,
Right.
or you turn your garage into a laser
right
room.
warehouse.
You know what I mean? Like
right.
like those were the two ends. So it might have discouraged you because there was
Right.
there was not as big of a community
Yeah.
and everything like that. So it might have been good that you didn't know.
Right.
And you just went into it, as opposed to now where there is a bunch of resources.
Right.
You can do homework and there are other options.
Right. Well, and it did open, like she mentioned, coming from Cricut, it totally was like it opened up the vinyl cutter community to like another like step up. The only thing I ever saw people talk about in like the vinyl communities was like 3D printers and sublimation.
Yeah.
And while those are definitely like similar crafts and another like gateway, it was a way to take things you were already doing like signs and stepping it up and making it just look that much better and exciting. Because I don't know, I feel like a lot of us who did the vinyl, like we did it because we were able to sell some, but for a lot of us I think it kind of lost its like excitement, partially because there was a lot of people selling their stuff too cheap.
Oh, right.
And so it kind of cheapened the craft a bit.
Right.
And, if you weren't willing to charge $10 for a sign, you know what I mean?
That
like,
might have cost you $10 to make.
Exactly.
And now you have to find a way to ship it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on. Are you still making toppers now, or like what is your favorite thing to make since you've come back?
Yeah, so toppers are still number one right now.
Nice.
I ventured into making them a little bit more complex. People started asking me for more complex designs.
Nice.
But yeah, cutting boards are still on the top of my want from my customers. I've been getting a lot of inquiries about like backdrop wording, like cut out in wood or acrylic for that matter. So that brought me to wanting a bigger machine, which is why I purchased the Mira. I'm waiting for that one to come in.
Which one?
I just know a lot of people. I got the 9.
Yay! Congrats.
Thank you. So the wait sucks, but it's
It
okay. It will be
does.
worth
It
it when it
does.
gets here.
You know, it's kind of for me. It's kind of like pregnancy. Like so, it's the 9-month wait. It's like so long, right?
Right.
But then all of a
gets you.
sudden, the baby's here, or the
Right.
baby's coming in like 2
Right.
weeks or whatever. And it's the same way with the laser.
Yeah.
Like it's not 9 months, hopefully, but it's several months, and it just sounds so far away because like usually by the time you buy one, you kind of needed or wanted one for several
bit,
months or several years even, and you've been like saving up or waiting for the right time or whatever. And then you finally order and you're like, you're so excited. And then you're like, cool, wait 3 to 6 months potentially for it to get here. And then all of a sudden they're like, and then you tell yourself, okay, that gives me time to get ready, to prepare, to learn, to make space. And if you're anything like me, giving me that much time, it does the exact opposite, because that guarantees that we're panicking a week before when they say it's on its way, and you're like, shit, remember how I had 3 to 6 months to get my space ready?
Just got to the warehouse and they're working on it.
Like the fiber is like, 3 weeks, it's coming in 3 weeks. And I was like, that's awesome. And then we didn't clear a space for it. It was in our hallway well, part of that was because we went on vacation.
Yeah.
But it was in our hallway for like a week or two. Yep. And then we finally made space for it, which we just moved the shit that was over there to somewhere else in the house. And then you uncrated it, and then it's still been sitting there. But we also had like a very busy January.
We've been really busy. Yeah.
But yeah, so like you think, oh, you gotta wait a little bit. I'm gonna get ready.
Is right there.
And then you don't get ready.
Yeah.
So get ready if you're not.
I know. Me and my husband actually talked about this. I told him the wait, and he was like, all right, we can do this. We can do this. We're going to build the table. We're going to move this. I'm like, yeah, this all sounds great, but I have ADHD. So like, I'm going to wait until the last week. I'm going to procrastinate the whole time. And then I'm going to be like struggling because I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's coming. So yeah, that will also be me.
So like I've talked about it again on the podcast before, that I've realized sometimes that's the only way I work well. And it's really annoying to the part of me that wants to like do better and be better. But like I also know like my analogy was always with writing a paper when I was in college. I would be given like, they tell if it was a big paper, they gave you several weeks, if not several months. Sometimes you knew on the first day of school, which was also so stressful to like, hey, in the next 3 months, you have these huge assignments due, and they're not due right now. So don't worry about it right now, but stress the entire time. And then like I would try to write the paper like a week or two before. I'd sit down for like 4 hours and I'd write one paragraph and get nowhere and be like, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go with this. And then the night before or 2 days before, then all of a sudden I can write 16 pages, and that one paragraph that took me 6 hours, it doesn't even stay. If I'm lucky, a sentence from it stays. You know what I mean? So just like, it sucks. And then sometimes if you actually are, which only plays into this more, if you actually do prepare ahead of time, like things change. Like, oh, now all of a sudden I moved that. Now it's going to be 3 months, and now you put something else in that space, or now it's not coming at all, or you know what I mean? Like I've had the times where like I prepare, I'm ready for it, and then whatever it is canceled and not happening anymore. And it's like, you know what? If I would have procrastinated, I wouldn't have wasted any of that time planning ahead.
So you're telling me it's okay to procrastinate?
So
unofficially, yes.
Yes. So what I did realize eventually was, sure, like if I can avoid that stress, amazing. But I've realized that sometimes that stress of, what is it, an impending like deadline or something like that is what I need to actually get it done. And to get it done well, even sometimes, which it's annoying that that's how my brain works. But I think if we find ways to work with the way our brain works, we might actually be more effective, So instead of fighting against who you are and how you function,
just embrace it.
Just embrace the fact that we're procrastinators and we do things last minute. And a lot of times what it means is there's other things that are more important. Sometimes it's not really a priority to you right then. Or it might mean you need to sit down and figure out what your priorities are. And if it is a priority, then you need to move it to the top of the list. That's something we learned in the time management class thing we went to workshop at the Podfest.
Yeah. It is. Making lists does help me with the ADHD. And then actually marking it off makes me feel better. Because sometimes then you have lists everywhere and then you lose track of what's really important.
Yeah. I have I can't focus enough to make like one list. So I have like 6 lists. And then I'm like, that one thing that is important is on the other list. And
and on one list is to start making a list.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that, paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte. Anything matte. And I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it. So when is your estimated arrival time of the laser?
I ordered in December, the second to last week in December. So I'm assuming maybe May, June.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know now, but I know they were getting closer to that 3 or 4 month time. But I do also know that right now it's Chinese New Year. So that basically adds like a whole month to everything because they, take I think it's something like 20 days.
Damn, why don't we do
off or something?
We get like one day.
Because we're America and we don't do any of the things. Like we also don't do the
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I gotta go order.
Right. Or you're saying that at work because that's
or trying to rush home. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year.
That was you the last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take like 6-month maternity leaves that are like paid and like crazy stuff like that us Americans can't even like comprehend because mine were, I think, maybe not unpaid, but I definitely had to go back earlier if I didn't want it to be
like
it's several weeks without
right,
pay,
or
or
like
use every bit of my vacation, which also isn't fair because now you have a new baby and it's like, well, okay, I can't get rid of all of it because I might need some of that if the baby's sick or whatever. So yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah, thankfully, New Jersey is one of the states that we do have paid leave for usually
Good.
both parents. So we
Oh,
have
wow.
we have like 26 weeks, I believe, if you use it fully. It's either between
Wow.
22 and 26 weeks paid
That's
from the state.
amazing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know when I took leave for JR, our first son, I got, and this our company was great then. I don't know that they had paternity leave when I left, but they were thinking about adding it or something like that. And it was shorter than obviously for the wife, which I mean, we'll take any, the 2 weeks that you got was better than 0 that we got with
Well,
JR.
I had like a week of vacation.
But I think it was 8 weeks paid, and then I took 2 weeks of my vacation, so I did 10 weeks, and then I had to go back after 10 weeks. And I was always so jealous of the female engineers who got paid a lot more money. So, obviously they had more flexibility to take longer time off. But I was always jealous when they would take 2 or 3 months, or the full 3 months off. And I'm like, that's nice. I'll see you in 10 weeks. I'll be back. So
Yeah.
we're obviously interviewing you on your lunch from your day job. Like I don't know if they're going to listen to any of this, but do
No.
you plan to eventually leave your day job and make laser stuff full time, or is this just your supplemental?
Yeah, so that was part of the reason why I wanted to upgrade the laser, because I would love to really make it a full-time job for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I make a very good salary where I work, so I have to make sure that, I'm
Right.
supplementing that once I take that jump. So
Yeah.
it might not be this year and maybe it'll be next year, but I would love to do this full time, especially, having kids at home. Like, I'm not there for a lot of the things, and
Yeah.
I work 9 to 5, so I miss a lot of their day, and I get to spend
Right.
maybe 2-3 hours with them a day, which I don't feel like is enough as a parent, not
Yeah.
just as a mom, as a parent. So it makes it really difficult, especially this time of year. I'm expected to work 6 days a week from 9 to 6.
Oof.
So it makes family life very difficult for 3.5 months for me. And I'm
Yeah.
honestly, I'm tired of having to explain myself to somebody, and for
Right.
somebody to say, hey, you can take this time off to go, see your kids play sports or go to gymnastics for your daughter. Like, I don't really want to answer to
Right.
anybody anymore. I want to be like, you know what? If I need to take 2 hours off here, I'll work tonight at home, and it will
Right.
just be on my time.
Yeah, we always, every time we go to um an awards ceremony for JR's school or those things, and then I saw one of the friends we actually met on our vacation in Mexico. She was posting the other day. She's a nurse, and I think an ER nurse, and so she's 12-hour shifts, and she's like, the schools, and I get it, the schools during the day, so obviously the award ceremonies are typically going to be during the day,
during their school day.
but they aren't set up to be easy for the working parent to attend if you don't have that flexibility in your schedule. Because every time we would go, I wondered how these people were able to go to these kinds of things. Because my desk job at when I worked for the oil and gas company, although I probably would have had that flexibility there where I could take 2 hours off or whatever, and then make it up or just use it as PTO or whatever. But I worked 45 minutes on a good day from where we lived. So it would have been almost 2 hours just to drive there and back, not even for however long this award ceremony. And listen, it's for not to take it away, but like he's in first grade.
Right.
And it was like the most improved. Or one kid literally at the last one got like an award for
being the best new kid.
The best new kid. It was his first day at school. Like
well, it's also
the happy medium.
It's also
between
part of
like not leaving them out.
Everybody getting an award.
Right, and I get that, and I get not leaving them out, but then it also makes for some really ridiculous awards like that. And so it's like, you know, I want to be there, but then at the same time, then you're having to make the decision of, do I go to this award ceremony for some absolutely ridiculous kindergarten or first grade award where your kid would love to see you no matter how ridiculous or not it is,
because all the other parents,
and then do I take 3 hours off of work to go to this ceremony? And then like the thing I've loved the most about you being home, besides the how are we going to pay our bills part, is the freedom to do those kinds of things. And like yesterday when, you know, JR was home, you know, from school, it didn't like completely disrupt everything because, you know, we were both able to tackle it. And like you came in here for something, I came in here, stayed a little bit longer, you know, that kind of stuff. It like, you know, just having that flexibility is so important. And now we're going to have soccer coming up. And you know, had with your other job, you wouldn't have been able to go.
I would have missed practices, but I would have made the games because they're early morning.
Right, early morning on the weekends.
but the games, I would have missed the practices. Because those are in the evening, 5 and 6.
Right.
You know, after they get out of school and parents get out of work, you know, quote out of work. Because I mean, there is no, I mean, you're lucky you got the 9 to 5, but that's more and more not the norm because it's like, you know, it just depends on what you do.
Well, and I mean, 9 to 6, like so I don't know how you, and you said you were, you told us talking before the show, you're a tax accountant, right? Yeah. So during this 3 months where everyone's like, you know, prepping and freaking out about taxes, you know, like I've had other like accountant friends, and like you are in this like kind of like high stress quarter of the year at home, and then you get home late because you need the extended hours, and then now like kind of what you're able to give to your family is not what you'd necessarily want to give, you know. And so how far do you live from your job? Do you also have like a 30-minute drive home, or?
No, so I'm actually only I'm only 15 minutes from my house.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
nice.
good at least.
So it's not too bad. It's just, you know, after I'm working for 9 hours a day and then I get that little bit of time with my family, I have nothing to give to my business this time of year. So it's a very hard struggle for me to like stay relevant on social media because I don't have that much to post. And then on my one day off, I'm doing all the things that, you know, all the things I couldn't do during the week: laundry, food shopping, cleaning up, getting the kids ready for school the next, like, it's just all the things. And there's only so many hours on a Sunday that you can do that. And then that's considered my relaxing time too, which it doesn't happen.
Nothing relaxing about it. Well, and then what I noticed too was like, you know, a lot of times in the afternoon after they get home from school, our boys aren't exactly the chipperest or the nicest either. And so like we all kind of get like sometimes the worst of all of us. Cause like, you know, if they had a rough day at school or they were tired, or like a lot of times we suspect Jackson didn't have a good nap. And then it's like, yay, this 2 hour, we haven't seen you all day, and we're going to see you 2 hours before you go to bed, and you're screaming for 50% of that, or, you know, whatever. So it's difficult to find that balance, even for us. Cause, you know, we're home, but we still end up after, you know, school and daycare hours. It's hard to like spend quality time.
And also it's hard because we don't have that punch in, punch out. So it's easy for you to dive into a project and it's
Answer.
hard.
Oh, let
And
me
it's
just
hard to
answer this
cut it
person on
off.
Facebook real quick. Let
Right.
me.
Let me
Yeah.
answer
Yeah.
this last email. Let me do this. Oh, there's
Mhm.
this email I have to go, on to
Yeah.
Silhouette and find,
Mhm.
it's hard to have that heart out
Yeah.
when you work for yourself and
When
when you're
it's just
doing
10 feet from.
right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a hard balance for sure, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So recently I saw you went to that brunch or the meetup, right? How did that go?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was my first time ever doing something like that because I'm
Mm.
more introverted.
Right.
So I got to meet one of the people that I've been talking to on Instagram with for like the last 4 years. We got to meet in person, which was great.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
And it was nice to just be in a room with people with like-minded
Mhm.
businesses. Like, just it was full of women. So
Right.
in the laser world or in our community,
Yeah.
there is a lot of men. So it was great to be in a room filled with women that have gone through the same struggles. A lot of them were moms that are, doing this as a side
Right.
business. So some of them are full time, but it was just really fun to just have people to relate to in
Right.
this industry specifically.
Yeah. That's what I love about the conference. She's going to try to come. Maybe she can win
I
the
am.
the
Yeah.
free ticket that
Right.
we're
Woo!
working on for the giveaway, or maybe some other prizes. And it's again, that's another, everything's like balancing the cost, depending on where
Right.
you're coming from. For some people, the flights are really expensive,
Mm-hmm. Right. The stay.
which sucks. But yeah, you have to pay for the ticket. Are you dragging along, a friend or a husband? Thankfully, they have the cheaper ticket options for those people
Right.
who like don't really want to go to the
Yes.
classes or anything, but kind of want to like be there or be
The
close
talks.
by. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
talks. But adding up all of that, and whether you're driving, flying, the hotel,
Yeah.
but like if you can swing it at all, like the just the impact they have of literally just hanging out with people
Yeah.
who also
Yeah.
do this crazy thing with us is just, it's so huge. Even if you go and you can't afford to go to all the talks, I would
Right.
highly recommend you just getting the vendor pass
Yeah.
and going to that and just
I was gonna say I
talking
don't
to
know how much
people.
Mark and Will want us to say that,
Right?
but listen, just being there in any capacity
Yeah.
is definitely gonna one is gonna push you to do
Mhm.
better. Two, it might push you to make that leap.
Right.
It's gonna show you that it is possible because other people are doing it, and a
Right.
lot of other people are doing it.
Right.
It's just so energizing.
Right.
So you will get a lot from the talks.
Yes.
But if it is, like you said, if it is steep with all that,
Right.
just consider doing the vendor
Right.
pass.
Mhm.
Look at those numbers, and if that makes more sense, I guarantee you're gonna walk out of there,
Right.
and next year you're gonna be in a place to do the actual,
Right.
the talks and the full pass. Plus,
Yeah.
you're just gonna walk away energized and like, I can do this. We can really and have a blueprint because you see other people and you talk to other people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Podfest one we went to,
Mm-hmm.
while the
Yeah.
classes were hugely
Yeah.
impactful, or they were kind of talks as well. But the sitting at the table in between classes or at lunch or afterwards, those were equally as impactful. And there was people that I didn't see in the classes at all that we're talking to try and get on the podcast
Right.
later, because we feel like there's something they could contribute to
Mm-hmm.
our community and our audience as
Right.
well. And it's yeah, they do so much for motivation, morale,
Mm-hmm.
hell, finding new friends who understand what the hell you're talking about
Right.
24/7, like that alone, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, meeting someone
Yeah,
in
no,
person.
I had FOMO listening. Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference. And you know, I only know a few people personally in the laser community. So like getting to meet the people that you've been talking to in a Facebook group for the last, 4 or 5 years, like that's got to be awesome.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, well, so like us, we've been talking lately a lot more through DMs and stuff, and it's so nice to actually like meet that person, to like, with everything becoming so digital now, especially like with those Vision Pro goggles.
Those
like
are
they're
pretty, though.
they're
Listen,
they're really freaking
they're
cool.
awesome.
They're really, I'm not gonna discredit them. However, there's nothing that can replace the in person.
I don't know. Have you seen the like FaceTime with those?
Yeah, but like you can't touch them. Like, I don't know. To me, so like, especially coming up after the conference, I'll be without the boys for that like 4 or 5 days before, and then for, I don't know, a week or so after. So it'll be almost 2 weeks without them. And while FaceTime is great, it's not the same as going to go give my kids a hug, you know? And FaceTime with them right now, especially with Jackson, is super annoying because he's fighting over the phone with JR and Nino, and all I can see is his forehead because he doesn't know how to hold the phone so that I can actually see him. You know, so it's just like everything's so digital now, and it's amazing in that you can make connections with people that you maybe normally wouldn't be able to, and they can be really close, but I feel like it only makes it more desirable to then see and talk to that person in person.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely trying to figure it out because I want to go, you know, just to meet everybody. And even just being at this little laser event 2 weeks ago, there was only about 45 people there. Just leaving there, I felt so like excited to go home and maybe put some new projects together. But being in a room full of maybe 500 people that are on the same, you know, level as that, like that's got to be such like a great feeling leaving there. So I don't want to miss out. I have FOMO as it is, so
Yeah. Well, and I will say that like we've now gone to 3, well, I have, but you've gone to 2. But now I will have gone to 3 of different sizes. So the first conference was about 100 people, and then the second one was about 200 for next level. And then the Podfest, they said, was around 2,000. And I will say, when it gets to that size, not that it's impossible, but it can be a little bit more difficult to kind of make those connections. Although I will say that they had like an app that you could use for the event, and a lot of people were creating smaller meetups for similar type. There, like I saw one that was like a parents podcast meetup and that kind of stuff. Yeah, there was a huge like meetup of like section of like dental podcasts, and we were like, what? Like, I mean, listen, everyone looked at us like we had 4 eyes when we talked about lasers. So I can only imagine like it's our same thought with the dental podcast. But like, I mean, if you have any kind of interest or passion, there's a freaking podcast for it. So I guess that maybe you're talking about crazy experience. You might be talked about on one since you have a literal extra tooth.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be one of the topics maybe they'd cover on one of their episodes or something.
I mean, listen, I could be on a dentist podcast because I was strongly against going to the dentist forever.
I got you.
And then I was like, oh, this isn't that bad.
Right.
So
if you find the right one, it's definitely doable. Just, you know, little things like that. I mean, the bigger ones, you do have to kind of make a little bit more of an effort to like get those connections, but not even that much, because again, like I was sitting at a table waiting for like you to go grab lunch and come back, and people sit down at the table and you just kind of start talking.
And you have that entry of like, for the podcast, like, oh, what's your podcast about?
Right.
And like for lasers, like it's like, oh, what do you make, or what laser do you have, or because you have that, again, it's like-minded people, so you have something to start a conversation with.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I found your podcast originally. because I was looking for something that was laser focused, and there's not really much out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few new ones we've
there's
seen
more and more coming
pop
out,
up, which
is
I mean,
great.
it's great because like we
can only fill your day for an hour.
This is true. Well, it depends. If you just started, we have 145 episodes. We have 145-ish plus hours to fill days with.
I think we're strong like 2 episodes. After 2 episodes, I think I'd get tired of hearing myself.
That's true. There's only so much they can take of all of us in one day. Well, of us in one day. Yeah, but I mean, and then having the different ones, they all bring something else. Like, you know, we've talked about, you know, laser everything in the laser source podcast. You know, they're a little bit more technical.
Right.
They're kind of like the other end of the spectrum. Like I talked about with like LBX and that conference and how that one was like, I think Will told me that the next level is like, I don't know, 75% women or something like so a high percentage of women is, you know, for their audience. And he's like LBX, it had to be like the exact opposite of, you know, that many men and like some women sprinkled in. But it's great in that combining those two worlds, I think you can really like, you just see more perspective, cooler things that maybe haven't hit the other one, and vice versa. And I love that like kind of the two of them are mixing now. Like I've seen a lot of the guests that he's had on, and it's been more of the like CO2 world because they were mostly Fiverr and Galvo. Yeah, and it just like they all will do like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but amazing things for your business if that's like your passion and where you want to go. And if you need just like even if you don't need the tiniest boost, like to walk away with one of those without it, like I don't think it's possible unless you like hid in your room.
And even then,
I don't know.
You would have seen somebody in the hallway.
I remember when we went to Dallas, and again, I should know these things, but I was unprepared for running into people in the lobby. Like we were in line, and you know, it's like a long day, especially for I call myself an ambivert now.
An ambivert.
Ambivert to introvert and extrovert combination. But you know, traveling all day, traveling is never like fun or exciting to me, like the actual travel day. And so you're tired, the flight probably sucked, there might have been a delay, like you stayed up way too late packing, all those things. The last thing you kind of want to do is when you finally get to where like exactly. I remember we were standing in line, and the Dallas one, and the ones either they were like standing, they were ahead of us or behind. It was that the married couple, and I mean, mind you, we were walking around with our shirts on, so we were kind of like, "Hey, talk to me. I'm a laser person."
Right.
But they're like, "Oh, we love your podcast," blah, 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 blah. And we're like, and we love that, but then also at the same time, like, if you had any control of like, hey, wait 10 minutes, you know, so it's hard. It's, you know, so I always have to, I need to remind myself, like,
you gotta be on
you gotta be on it and ready. And like, I always welcome it when they do.
Well, and luckily we're not like characters of, you know, like this is what you get.
Right.
Well, you see me in the lobby, this is what you're gonna get.
Only more awkward. I'm way more awkward, I think, in person. Yeah.
She doesn't know what to do with her hands in person.
Well, and like we're not like Dr. Drew in that he was walking through, you know, the lobby or whatever with his wife, and no one was bothering him.
I felt so bad.
And then you're like, you go, should I ask for a picture? I was like, you have to ask for a picture. And then he went up and asked for a picture.
And then got swarmed.
John kind of opened the door for everyone else who saw him, who was probably doing the same thing. Should I ask for a picture? Can I ask for a picture? And so we asked for one, got one, and then he had a lot of people. Like it was literally like a swarm, and John goes, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Thankfully we're not like that.
Because I knew him I not knew him. I knew of him obviously from Loveline and everything.
Yeah.
But I mostly listened to this one podcast he does in this network of comedians that no one in Podfest really knew about.
Right.
Because when I gave him the salute when he came up, everyone kind of laughed but didn't know.
They awkwardly laughed because they didn't know what it was about.
They laughed more once he replied with the reply.
Right.
They're like, oh, okay, it's cool. Because
at first they probably just thought you were like a heckler.
Yeah, exactly. And then once he responded, they're like, okay, he's cool.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to get a picture with him, and then everyone just came over and started talking to him.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Susan is going to kill him.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we can relate to that because, like, if you go to these, if you are an introvert, go, with an open mind and know that you're going to leave exhausted from all the peopling, but it's like positive peopling.
But I feel like
you'll run into them everywhere.
If you're an introvert,
at
but
the
you're in the
airport, we've
groups,
even seen. Yeah.
But if you're an introvert and you're in the groups, when you get there, you're gonna feel like a little nervous, a little awkward. But once you meet that first person that either you already knew that you talked to from the groups, or you knew from the groups, you'll be like, oh no, wait, I know everyone here. Like I kind of know everyone here, so you don't feel as introverted. You feel like you're amongst. Now, when you leave the hotel, you go back to being.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's how I felt when I went to the other laser event. So I think also when you know that people go through the same struggles as you, and they know what you're talking about, and people are just not like just head nodding you like yeah, and these people actually understand your struggle and all that, it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and they may actually have advice that's helpful.
Right.
Because we've also all had the advice that's not so helpful from the friends or family who don't necessarily understand.
Yeah, maybe you should just go get a real job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. How's that little sign business?
How's that little business? Are you still making those little? Are you still making those little cup cutting boards?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so how do you? Okay. So how do you manage all of that? Do you just take less orders like during this crazy like tax time? Or do you like push out your production date? Like how do you best manage, all of what you've got going on?
Best is not a word. But no, since I'm not really active too much on social media, which is where I get 90% of my orders from, I feel like people kind of forget about me a little bit. So orders come in very slow, which I'm okay with.
Right.
And then if I do have an influx of orders, I'll just let people know like this is my turnaround time. Like I do have a full-time job, and this is not my only source of income here. So and if people are not okay with it, then I'll just refund them if they've already paid. And most of my I would say all of my customers in all my years that I've been in business have been okay with it.
Understanding. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of them do understand that like they're hopefully ordering from you because you're a small business or because of those things. And so you hope that they're more understanding when those things that also make up who you are kind of make it so that you can't just, deliver it tomorrow like Amazon, which I always joke. Everyone always makes that joke of like, oh, we're not Amazon. But hell, Amazon after COVID, they've never really gone back to they it's if something takes 4 or 5 days for Amazon, I'm not shocked anymore. I used to be like, excuse me. And then now everyone's I still am, but like I'm more used to it now.
When I see that Prime date out 3 days, I'm like, what am I paying for Prime for?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, we used to wait 7 to 10 business days for all
for everything.
Everything.
I mean, I can't get it here at 4 a.m. today.
Listen, I'm the same way because I still go on there and
then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go look to see who else sells it that I can get it here at 4 a.m. today.
Exactly.
I know. I mean, they do have the things where it's like, if I want a last minute gift
to sit for a week, I need this box to get here tomorrow so it can sit for a week before I open it.
So true. Oh my god! And that's the worst part about it is that you're like, 3 days. I'm gonna order for $5 more from this guy who can get it here tomorrow,
And then I can open
and
it
then it's
7.
gonna sit over there
Yeah.
for next till
You should
next
see our island.
That's why I'm laughing so hard. Is there's so many things on
Yeah.
that island, and then I don't even know what's in there.
Nope.
It's just miscellaneous things for the house or the business.
When you're an adult, every day is Christmas.
It really is.
That's
I've been
true.
better though.
That's
I've
true.
been holding back and not ordering so much, and then
Things
all of a
happen.
sudden I break.
Yep.
And there's
And then
so
all hell breaks loose.
Totally. So, since you're a tax accountant, I guess, how does any of that play into how you run your business? Do you have any like small business like tax advice or anything?
I get a lot of questions from people. I was actually gonna start posting like tax tips on my social media for this business just to help other people out.
That was
I don't there I mean there's so many things that
right.
I feel like I know and like are common sense, but a lot of people
Oh,
don't
there's so
know.
much.
And like
No,
if you don't have an accountant,
Yeah.
right,
there's so many like some people don't know that you can depreciate your your equipment. Like
right,
you can write that off. Like yes, that's a write off. You don't have to
right,
write it off all in 1 year, but you can depreciate it over 7 and get the deduction
right.
for 7 straight years.
Yeah,
And like if you're leasing a piece of equipment, you can write off that payment as equipment lease. And your portion of your home office or your home space
right,
that you're using, you can write a portion of that off. You can write off your utilities, your internet, your cell phone.
right.
If you're using that for your business, a portion of that is deductible. If you have to buy an iPad, or
Yep.
the pen or whatever, new laptop or anything like that, you can also depreciate that as equipment. There's a lot of things that you can
Yeah,
do that a lot of people don't know.
right.
But yeah, I'm actually I do a mastermind class. So my coach was like, in this time of year, maybe like pivot yourself a little bit. And if you're
Totally.
not
Yeah,
posting your product, maybe you can post your tax tips. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take that turn. I'm working on trying to it's not gonna be
yeah,
every day because it's just too much, but maybe
for
like
Right.
sure. Yeah,
twice a week. And then
yeah. I
I'll
was
do
gonna
like
say
a
even
question
once a
box
week.
or something if people want to ask
Hmm.
me questions. Yeah, once a week. Yeah. And then if people ever need help, I'm here to help them.
Yeah,
Yeah. Our episode with Katie, our tax accountant,
yeah.
she those episodes do really well
Right,
because it is very informative and it's information that everyone can use. Not,
right,
like, and no matter where
Yeah.
you are in your journey,
right.
these are helpful tips
Yeah.
for you to either write down when
Oh
you get
yeah, for
there
sure.
or to implement immediately.
Well, and it's things that a lot of us, if we don't know, and it's a little scary because you don't want to
Mhm.
do it wrong, you tend to kind of like avoid it.
Right.
And I'll take care
Mhm.
of that later, or I'll deal with that later, or I'll find an accountant later, or whatever. And knowing just a little bit to take some of that stress away is like, oh, okay. It just knowledge tends to help relieve some
Yeah.
anxiety if you're able to get that.
Yeah.
So it's such a hot topic that so many people don't even know, like you said, the common things.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're talking about the write-off, I always think of that clip, oh, I can write that off,
Yeah.
and like write it off, like who writes it off? And he's like, oh, the write-off
You
Oh,
write it off.
from Schitt's Creek.
Yep.
Schitt's
The
Creek.
write-off
Yeah.
people. Yeah. And like, people just assuming that like, oh, we can go to lunch, we can write this whole thing
Yeah.
off. Well, in some years you could,
It's free. It's a
and some
write-off.
years it was 100% like write off, and some years it's only like 50%, and like, those kind of
Right.
things. But and just you don't have to memorize all that. So
Mhm.
get yourself, a tax person who
Yeah.
can help you so you don't have to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're coming up on your break
I think
here.
I lost you guys. Hold on one second.
Oh, we back?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can I ask you guys one question before we hang up?
Yeah.
Of
for sure.
course.
How did you come up with your business name?
We get that a lot, which I need to. Every time I get it, I'm like, I need to make a
Right.
video on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Riley is our first son's middle name, and then black is just my favorite color.
Yep.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Riley Black.
Yep, and it sounded cool. It was like, so black and red were always like kind of like our favorite color. It was our wedding colors. It's kind of like what we tend to like gravitate towards. And Riley Red sounded like, stage 3 stripper name. And it was and then it was like Riley Black sounded more like
Riley Red sounds more like a character on Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah. Yes. Who used to be a stripper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now she's into her rap career.
Right.
We just wrote a whole bio.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when we started adding pieces, we wanted the podcast to be like an extension of that. And so, the Riley Black Project is what we came up with. It was hard because we wanted like lasers and stuff to be in there, but then it was also like, okay, but then who are those people? So like we already kind of had like the following from Riley Black, and then so we did the Riley Black Project, and I like it because that was like one of the suggestions as far as like like not common, but something that would work for a podcast name. But then like if you think about it, we all do projects all day every day when we're working on laser stuff, so it worked.
I was just wondering because I never like heard it in any of the podcast episodes, and I'm like, well, where did that come from? Because her name is Crystal.
Yeah. So did you have? Oh, do you have something?
No, I just wanted to get a nice cut point. Back into. Because we lost her.
Oh, but that's not going to go in there?
Okay, we can leave it.
Sorry.
Just leave it.
All right, we'll leave it all in.
Yeah,
it's all in.
We'll just leave it. Just if you need to, do the little last connection and then come back. Yeah.
2 hours later.
Yeah, one of those. So before we let you go, do you have anything else? Like, the one question we're starting to try and ask, like, is there anything new you would say to old you, back when you bought your Glowforge or any of those days?
I probably would have done the research just to do the research and make sure that Glowforge was the best way to go. I regret going small because now now I obviously have to upgrade because of the size. So I would have definitely done more research in the beginning for sure. And the cost of material, the amount of material that I have, I wish I knew. I should have known from having the Cricut that if it was that much material for a Cricut, it was going to be 10 times more with a laser. But I didn't think about that. So yeah,
it's very, very true. I think of my office when I first. So my office for the vinyl stuff, like it took over everything, right? But then when I added the laser, like it took over the house. Like I didn't think about like the amount of wood you need on hand. Like if you have a project and it needs 2 or 3 sheets of wood, that means you really need like 6 to 10 just in case it doesn't cut through, just in case one of them's warped or there's a knot or you aren't paying attention because you're tired and it's 3 a.m. and you fuck it up. Like all of those things, like all of the things that come with the laser, it's like, okay, the laser costs anywhere from like 2 to 12,000. But multiply that by 2 or 3 once you figure out all the, like, you need a $5 scraper tool, you need a $4 roll of black Gorilla Tape, you know what I mean? Like masking the material, all of it. The 3M, which buy the 3M. Or buy one of the like cheaper ones. We'll give David a free plug on his new
his new
dual tight double-sided adhesive that he has coming out. So that's a very good one.
That the whole part of the reason why I came back in summer of 23 was because I saw the Stanley toppers and I was like, well, I have about $750 worth of acrylic sitting in my office. I might as well use it.
Right? Well, and you can make, so it's just like those or keychains or earrings, acrylic, especially expensive acrylic, it goes further when you can sell one of those things for $10 or $12. You can you multiply that by how many you can fit on the sheet, and like the margins are great on those things. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
It was so great to have you. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Absolutely. No, it's okay. I was gonna say I actually got to meet Courtney from Houston Acrylics. She was at the Victor event as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I met her for the first time at the Dallas one.
Oh, at Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, that was the first time I met her in person. And then she'll be at the Tulsa one, and so will Melody. And I'm excited to meet Melody from CMB in person as well. There's a lot of people excited, that either weren't able to go to the other ones or, are going to this one for the first time.
So knowing that there's going to be a wait.
Hopefully I'll make it so I can meet you guys.
Yes, for sure. The delay. Yeah. Knowing that there's a delay in production, where can people find you?
Oh yeah.
People can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Jersey Girl Sign Shop.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you for spending your lunch hour with us.
Yes, thank you, Jess.
Absolutely.
Stick around
Thank you guys so much.
Yes, stick around for a second so we can continue talking to you. And you guys stay tuned for the life update coming up. Welcome back. We're back.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
A lot of stuff. A lot of things. A lot of things are falling through the cracks.
It's fine. Just gonna shake it off.
Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right.
See, and I didn't want to talk about it, but like it's really hard not to, because
it's part of the
we're very transparent with everything of the good, not
to a certain
for the
point.
most part. Yeah. Of just the struggles and some of the like not so pretty parts of business.
Of business,
and we won't like name anybody.
Right. Just
obviously,
a couple,
but there was like we had like a lot of leads.
Yeah, a couple
and
of
they
big
were all
ticket,
very, very like
contracts.
hopeful and awesome and like exciting, and then
bloop, falling through.
So
as is life with a video. It's what happens.
Yeah.
It's what happens. Everyone gets all excited.
Why did you choose this profession
Because
again?
it's what I'm good at. I like playing with cameras and I like to edit. And it's great, and it's great for marketing.
It is.
But it also comes with a price point.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot of work, and it is, it's
it's always something,
and everything is behind the scenes.
Can feel like they can
do themselves.
Put off. Either do themselves or put off until later when they have more time to think about it, or think about, because I get it. If they're going to spend that much money, they want to make sure that they have like a plan or know how they're going to use it or put that money to good use.
And it's a risk.
At the same time, a lot of people then
with risk.
Take that time to think about it and then never actually do it.
Right. And because it also is risk, because you don't know. It's not like you do A, B, and C. Right. And you're going to get back.
Right. Because the return is what's unknown.
Right. It's in the air. Right. It doesn't know. You don't know like what it does. But one thing that I can attest, and I mean, it's biased because of what I do. Right. But the more you do it, the more you see return.
Right.
You might not see return on a video. That's 100%. Especially if you just post it once.
Right. Yeah. If you run it once and never again. Yeah.
Right. Never again. It might not get in front of the right eyeballs.
Yeah.
So you just got kind of like this podcast.
I mean, it's a good time for me to wear your shirt. Right.
Black Media.
So if anybody needs video, come hire this guy.
Yeah.
So we can
pay bills.
Pay our mortgage. Yeah. What else we got?
Well, speaking of my merch,
yes,
we are going to release some merch.
Yeah. So I'm working on there's a lot of work that goes into the pre-orders and doing like the bulk orders of shirts.
Right.
And it's a lot, and I don't really have it in me right now.
Takes up a lot of
space.
Acrylic space.
It takes time getting like pre-orders so I can make sure to get enough of a certain size, because like it's always stressful do I buy 10 extra large or do I buy 20 extra large?
Right.
And am I going to sell 5 or 25 and then not have enough.
Right.
So I'm going the route. I'm going to attempt to do a print on demand service, adding it to our Shopify. I worked on and struggled and didn't successfully come up with a design yet, but I want to do, the regular ones with our logos and stuff. He wants ones for Riley Black Media that are just like t-shirts that aren't like the more formal polo.
Yeah, because the polo is going to be for networking.
Yeah.
And then a shirt for actual when I
shoot
show
days
up and shoot.
yeah. But then we also want to do one. I did a poll probably like 6 months or more ago about Riley Black project sayings.
Yeah. Like real life
hiccups
money.
and a yawn. Yeah. So if you're a dedicated listener, you know the joke behind real life money.
Right.
And so we want to put that on a shirt. And I tried to work on a design for that and I changed it 6 million times and I'm not like in love with any of them. Like I feel like we're close, but it's not there yet. But anyway, so things like that for the podcast, like some of the terms that we've all like just grown to love. You don't know what you don't know. Those kinds of things. Like obviously that's not our saying, but we say it a lot.
Right. We're just gonna put it on a shirt.
Yeah. So working on merch. So hopefully you guys can grab some of those.
Yep.
It'll be just another way that you guys can, support us because obviously we'll make a little bit off the top of
and
those shirts
wear it in
and
Tulsa.
wear it and show your peeps.
Yep.
What else?
Gonna hook up this fiber that's staring at us.
Yeah. Oh, and on merch, things like Stephanie Lockridge, is that her last name? Stephanie. Anyway, the Stephanie, most definitely was her old business name. She's been asking me for tank tops for forever.
Oh, okay.
And through the big orders, it didn't make sense unless I was ordering like 10 to 25 of a certain style.
Right.
And I don't know a whole bunch about the print on demand. That's the first one. I'm impressed.
That's the second.
Second? Still.
It's the longest.
But
it was the second.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's either improving or you held all those in.
No, I've been drinking a lot.
Okay.
When I feel the tickle.
But anyway, she's wanted a tank top for forever. And it wasn't like really feasible before because it would have meant I would have had to pay like $20 something for that tank top, which still may be the case, but whatever. But anyway, so we'll hopefully open up the merch to more items.
You get your hoodies.
All that
all
stuff.
Different.
Yeah. Because I mean, hoodies don't make sense out here in Florida, so we definitely don't want an extra unless you're Heather and 60 degrees in there. But so then next working on exhausting the fiber so that we can start playing with that because I also have new keychain blanks.
That's right.
What do you call it? To test and get up on the site. So I'm anxious to do those. And I will say, so let me just quick little side note, shout out to our awesome like double sponsor that is Miss Katie with Monarch Pines. She messaged me today and asked me if I was willing to share, kind of prefaced it with that, but if I was willing to share, like, so she also has some keychain and fiber blanks that she's working on adding to her site as well.
Okay.
And she asked me, and she's one of my authorized dealers, as I call them, of keychain thingies. And she asked me like what I was going to price them at because she didn't want to price them lower or undercut me. And I just thought that was, and she's done things like that before. Like she also sells like lobster claws and I think split rings for like keychains and stuff too. And even just being, my authorized dealer, as I call it, I don't expect her to get every single keychain thing related from me either, especially if she can source it cheaper elsewhere. But yeah, just a quick shout out to her for even just taking the time to think about that and ask me, hey, how much are you going to price them for? This is what I was thinking. I didn't want to go, too low. So that I thought that was just awesome and a community over competition thing that she doesn't carry all the keychain charms and all that kind of stuff that I do. So she'll send people, my way. I don't carry, jewelry findings, the backs or the little dangles or any of those things. So it's just like we can work together and even sell the similar things or hell, even sell the same exact thing, but just kind of like not screw each other over.
Right. Yeah.
Like, do we have to decide on a price point? No. Does that mean that like if she gets one a whole lot cheaper than me, that means that she absolutely has to price it what I do?
Right. No.
Not that either.
Right.
But the fact that it even crossed her mind to think about that was a huge, community over competition thing for me. And I really appreciated that. And just the like, one, let's make sure we're charging enough for our work, even though it is a blank. I get that, because the blanks, it's like as a reseller, it's a fine line between making a profit and not charging too little because technically you didn't make it, but now you're
middleman.
You could potentially be discrediting the fact that how long were you scrolling on the website to find a good supplier or a quality product? How did you include? Sure, they may be, some of the items I get are 50 cents for full transparency, but that doesn't include, is it 50 cents at what quantity?
Right.
Is it 50 cents? But then it's also so much, it's heavy. And so now shipping is a lot. The wristlets,
storage, and also storage space.
The wristlets that I would get, there's some that like the glow in the dark ones. I had to price those for $5.50, and I think technically on the glow in the dark ones I might make like $1.
Right.
Like on those, like after, and that might not even be with my time and whatever included, because there's some items that like I just want to get you to my site, and it's not exactly going to be whatever percentage markup or whatever. But you don't discredit the time it takes to source all those things, to put them on your website, to market them and actually get people to buy them and all those things. But then at the same time, you don't. There's an infamous blanks seller from way back in the early laser days who would source them for 50 cents to $1 and charge like 10 for them. And it's like, whoa, okay. Now, it's that fine line of making your profit margins, but then also not taking advantage of
and leaving profit margins for them to lend.
That's the other thing too. Exactly. Super good point, because with these blanks and selling to other laser owners, I need to make it so that you still have room to make a profit as well, to turn around and add something to it if you can, like an acrylic keychain or something, or hell, just resell it as is. But I hopefully am leaving enough room for, if you buy one of those balloon dogs for $2.25 or $2.50, you can turn around and sell that for $5, or maybe $5 without a charm and $10 or $15 when you add a little name charm or something to it. You know what I mean? But I want to leave that room for you guys to be able to still make money on it, as well.
We're all trying to make money.
Listen. Oh, God.
Speaking of making money, let's talk about spending money.
And soccer.
Soccer. Because we got Messi over here.
Oh, my God.
Every day after school, he wants to play soccer. Although... to see his eyes light up when he got soccer cleats.
Oh my God. He's been talking about cleats.
And it was my mistake, because I mentioned, if you join, you can't join because we're going to have to get you some cleats. Right. You don't have cleats right now. So now
he was trying to get him to to put it off. And all it did was turn the obsession into, well, now I need cleats then.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we had to try on said cleats for soccer at the end.
Because the soccer is coming at the end of the month. I bought on Amazon, and you know how it is with sizing and stuff. So I was like, I told her, I'm like, listen, I know we've been trying to keep this a secret, but he needs to try this stuff on so that if we have to return it, we still have time and make practice.
He's asked me so many times, how many days until February 22nd?
So
so I keep telling him, I'm like, go ask Echo.
Yeah. So
don't ask me anymore.
So we got him the socks, the shorts, the socks, the shin guards and the cleats. And I had him put on the shorts. He's like, oh, why do I gotta put on the shorts?
Why do I have to try these
I'm
on?
like, just go and put them on. And then I put on the socks. He liked the socks because they were longer than those tube socks. Because these went up to his knee.
Right.
And then I put on the shin guards, and that got a little bit.
But
he's like, oh, so I can play soccer and it won't hurt him. And then I just I didn't say anything.
He just started putting the cleats
put
on.
The cleats on. He's like, are those soccer cleats? Do I have soccer cleats? And he just, he wanted to go outside right away.
Yeah.
And of course, part of it, it fits, but now we got to make sure they don't fly. Because his red shoes, I heard you guys fighting this morning. Yeah. He doesn't like his red shoes because when he plays soccer and he kicks, the shoe flies off.
He was testing it this morning.
Yeah.
Trying to kick in the air to see if it would fly off. But he wanted to instead wear the shoes
with the hole
that have a hole in them.
They have a hole in them because he kicks the ball with, So anyway, he wanted to go outside. We went outside, and I gotta say the cleats kind of made him.
It did help. Even if it was just what do you call it? A boost of confidence or whatever.
Or placebo or whatever.
Placebo, yeah.
But it did. He was kicking. He was kicking more where he wanted to. He wasn't kicking with the side of his foot. Maybe because the shoes or the cleats are a little narrow or whatever.
Or it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. And then he actually got some grip in the. And I told him don't slide because I don't want you to mess up our backyard. I'm like, you can't slide with these in the backyard. Yeah. In the field, when you're playing soccer, slide all you want. I don't got to fix that grass. But here, don't be sliding because this man throws himself after the ball.
He does. The whole body.
Whole body. So, so we'll see how he does. His practice is on the 22nd. And his first game is March 1st.
Even
2nd?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Yeah. And even the team colors, which I didn't know this, are like navy blue.
Right.
And so we had to buy like blue shorts, cleats, that kind of stuff.
Well, I was going to buy the blue cleats anyway because blue's his favorite.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I think navy, I don't know if the color mattered for the cleats or not, but it did matter for the shorts and I think the socks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the fact that they were like a cool blue, he was, his eyes lit up. Yeah. And if you think about it, listen, this is a nice time to plug Patreon. Signing up for Patreon literally has paid for JR Soccer.
Keep JR in soccer.
And, keep JR Soccer in soccer and sign up for Patreon. Yeah. But it helps us buy things like that. Like having that luxury to be able to sign him up for that and buy all the stuff that goes with it. And and it makes him happy and gets that crazy energy he has
hopefully
out.
One can only hope.
It won't, but it's gotta only improve things, right? Maybe
we'll see.
Possibly. That's what just gives him more energy, I think. Because as soon as if practice is over, he'll probably be okay leaving because then everybody will leave.
Right.
Because God forbid if anybody stays behind, it's going to be a fight too. Yeah. So whatever. But that's
join Patreon.
Life.
Stay tuned for merch.
Yeah.
Send us some money if you want. We'll throw our Cash App on there.
Cash App.
That's what the kids are doing nowadays.
They are. Oh crap! That reminds me. I need to send money to Penny for Julian's birthday. Yeah, because she posted, here's his Cash App, and I was like,
does he have Venmo?
Right. I said, does he have Venmo? My Cash App isn't working, and I don't want to fix it. So
thank you for all the patrons who've signed up for Patreon, and thank you guys, everyone, for listening. Yeah. It's been another great episode of Ride It Back. Chris and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.